There was guys walking out of our block all day long, head split open, bleeding everywhere from getting extracted out of the cells. Drugged through the snow in their boxer shorts, my guy. Listen to what I'm talking about. There's snow this high on the ground. 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow on the ground. They're getting drugged to the hole in their boxer shorts. No socks, no shoes, like for nothing.
A lot of them dudes were posting shit on Facebook and stuff, man, and they were like, hey, man, we're afraid. Were you nervous? Were you worried for your own safety? So look, man, I know you end up getting stabbed by the AB, right? What happens?
Sure.
You hit you 30-something times? What happens?
Right. What happens is, you know what I'm saying? They just, you know, the COs were involved in all that shit with the ABs. You know what I'm saying? It was during the time when AB pretty much had Lucasville on lockdown. You know, so, you know, that's what it is. You know, we was at war at Lebanon with the ABs. You know, I'm big C-Dub. You know what I'm saying? Big homie. And, you know, they were riding leaders out of Lebanon for the shit that happened. You know what I mean? We're 17 on 17 fighting at Lebanon and shit. They rolled me out. I got the R&D. I wasn't even off the bus. They already knew we were coming from there waiting for us. You know what I mean? So it was just the cell door open and that's went down. You know what I mean?
As soon as you get to the prison, you get stabbed 30-something times.
Right. Absolutely. They were waiting on us. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, though, right? They're waiting
Sure.
on you. You get there, you get stabbed. 4 different people are stabbing you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
One of your homies with you when you arrive there? Someone to hold you down? Are they getting stabbed with you, or is it just you by yourself?
I'm in the cell and R&D by myself, and then another KF homie rode out with me. You know what I'm saying? He's in the next cell, and he's petrified. You know, he's horrified. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no help. You know what I mean? I had to fight myself up out of the cell to survive. You know what I mean?
These dudes are stabbing you. What ends up happening? I mean, you get mercy flighted. Where do they hit you at?
I mean, it's mostly arms and legs, but you know, I got a couple times in the chest and the stomach and shit, but it's all superficial wounds, nothing major. You know, little ice picks, nothing horrendous, nothing major. Some stitches, nothing
Take you
major.
to the outside hospital?
No, no, super glue and stitches, right there.
That's it. They don't give a shit.
They don't give a fuck. They don't care.
Not even concerned with any internal bleeding, nothing like that?
No checking it out, nothing at all.
What are you thinking when these dudes are stabbing you? What's going through your mind?
Well, literally when the door opened up, I thought they was like bringing me a dinner tray or something. You know what I mean? Like somebody was bringing me a dinner tray until, you know, I seen the bangers come out, then I know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's fight or flight, and there ain't no flying. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't go nowhere. I'm trapped in there.
Tell the people, you know, who you ride with, man.
I'm a big C-Dub, CWB, Cincinnati Wild Boys.
Cincinnati White Boys at one time, or was it just
Yeah.
Cincinnati Wild Boys?
It was Cincinnati White Boys at one time, you know, but you know, you got to adapt with the times, you know.
How'd you grow up, man? What was your life like growing up?
Growing up, we grew up poor. You know what I mean? Uh, you know, my mom, she tried to do the best she could. She worked jobs, a lot of jobs, you know, to try to take care of us and everything. But you know, we was poor, so we got, you know, I was bullied in school. You know what I'm saying, for being poor and not having, you know, like you know, the nice shoes and you know what I mean, and like, you know, shit like that. Not having a cool bike, you know. So we pretty much grew up, you know, running with the kids that, you know, that were getting in trouble and shit and getting my own shit, stealing shit. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't have to worry about that shit at school, you know.
What about your father? No father in the house?
No father in the house. I had a stepdad. That he was a hard worker too, you know. It's just, you know, the environment we were in, it wasn't easy, you know. So
How old are you when you first start to get involved in the criminal world, man?
I went to ODYS when I was 13 years old. I got busted at 14 for, I got in trouble when I was 13 and went to the detention, but 14, I started going to ODYS and getting locked up with the bigger kids. I got caught at school with a bag of weed that I had stole from my parents. You know what I'm saying? I was like passing it out to the kids and shit to try to make friends. You know how that is when you're young, and you know what I mean. Trying to trying to be one of the cool kids or whatever.
So you go to a youth facility. What's that like?
ODYS was a shithole. You know what I'm saying? In Ohio, the ODYS is a shithole. You know, it's um, like I said, I was younger around all the bigger kids, so they're all like 16, 17, and 18, and it's all gang shit. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, Bloods and Crips, GDs, all that shit, and you got to fucking find your way through that shit too, you know?
How long are you there for?
I was only there like 11 months, but I had some revocations all the way through there, little PVs all the way through there. Like, I helped a girl that was getting molested by her stepdad run away from home, you know, and they locked me up for that, for um, delinquency or whatever, and probation violations and stuff like that throughout that time. But I didn't really, you know, hit the mainstream criminal life until I was like 18. I went to prison for 5 years when I was 18, you know, for burglaries and theft of firearms and stuff like that.
18, you get 5 years. You're going to Ohio Department of Corrections.
Right.
When do you kind of get involved in this gang life?
Well, I started right away, you know what I'm saying? And, being a young white dude right away, it's like 1995, 96 at the time. And penitentiary is wild, you know, in Ohio is bad. You know what I'm saying? I started out, you know, in the receiving center and ended up going to Mansfield level 3, and it was bad. You know what I'm saying? It's if you didn't know how to fight, it was time to learn. It was, you know, there's a lot of bunch of, you know, bunch of fag shit. You know what I'm saying? And like extortion going on. So I was approached right away with, you know, by the white gangs, you know what I'm saying? AN, ABs, you know, berserkers right away. And, you know, a hard checking me to see, you know, what I was about or whatever. So I started um, pretty much probating for the Aryan Brotherhood um, uh, right off the bat in the ODRC.
So you start probating for them, and then eventually you end up getting stabbed by them because you're part of a different gang and you guys are beefing
Sure.
or whatever, right?
Yeah, that was yeah, like like so that would have been about 25 years later. Yeah, yeah. I ended up being in the on the ops with them. Yeah.
So the Ohio AB, though, I mean, pretty strong in that prison system, right?
At the time, yeah, they're really, 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 really strong. Like anything that any jobs, any drugs, anything at that time, you pretty much had to go through the Aryan Brotherhood at that time.
They had that stuff going on with Chance over there, and he ended up doing some shit with the Lucasville riots and testifying, all kinds of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Um,
a little bit before my time, but yeah, all that stuff in the earlier '90s. Yep, for sure.
so tell us what it's like to probate for the Aryan Brotherhood. I mean, what do they tell you got to do? You got to put in work.
Oh yeah, you got to put in a lot of work. It's mostly a lot of hard checking and stuff like that. Like back then, you know, they didn't want you to stay in prison forever. But if you already had a life bid or a long enough bid, like I don't know, 40, 50 years, you were gonna have to be bloodborne. That means you was gonna have to stab somebody to be part of the AB. You know, you was gonna have to do a hit. But if you were short time, you know what I'm saying? It's mostly just hard checks, you know, making sure making sure that you know you weren't no pussy, no bitch, that and that you were loyal, so that when you did get back out, you could, you know, do shit for them on the inside. You know what I mean?
What type of mission did they send you on?
Just mostly just, you know, crash outs. Somebody owed money, like in, you know, I crash on them in the chow hall, or if somebody was in the way of the bag and they needed to get them out of the way, I crash on them so they would have to go to the hole. I would go to the hole too, but you know what I mean. I was taken care of back there in the hole. You know what I mean?
Do they advocate to get you out and all that shit and get the other dudes shipped?
No, no, nothing like that, man. You know, it's 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 not what it's all cracked up to be, man. It's you know, it's the guys at the top eat, and you know, the guys at the bottom are pretty much the flunkies, man. You know, it's pretty much like that in almost all organizations in the Ohio penal system.
I mean, I think that's how it is everywhere, right? The guys at the top of the food chain eat, and the rest of the guys, sometimes they get thrown away. Sometimes they end up with life sentences. Sometimes they end up with 5, 10, 15 more years. Sometimes they get victimized, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that going on back in the day. That's kind of what shied me away from, the the brotherhood is because they were extorting a lot of their own kind. You know what I mean? And you're trying to preach that we're supposed to hold each other up, and you're still preying on the weaker of our own race. You know what I'm saying? So I started seeing that, started shying away from it, and you know, when you try to leave an organization, when you try to leave an organization or get away from an organization, even though I was an attached member, you still they still because shaking up and everything, you got to bleed out. So I, you know, I was attacked several times by the AB, which made me not care for that organization too much. You know what I mean?
Stop you for a minute. So while you're probating, you get attacked by them?
When I start pulling away, when I start trying to pull away from that organization, once I see what's going on, and how they really roll, you know what I mean? Yeah,
What do you do? You tell the shot caller, like, look, man, I think I'm good on this shit?
yeah, I'm pretty much good on this shit, man. I don't like the way it's looking. I don't like how you guys are moving, whatever. And they're like, he was like, fine, but that's not how it really goes. You know what I'm saying? They, uh, it's kind of like a slap in the face to them or something. You know what I mean? So then they send their little hitters or their probates at you all the time. You know what I mean? Trying to get rid of you. Like they don't really want you on the yard once you've been around them and shit because it's like a bad look for them.
So, I mean, when you get attacked in Ohio, I mean, do you get transferred to a different prison?
No, no, I ain't never, you just take the lickings. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no PC, no checking in my blood. You know what I mean? Like,
I
ain't
don't
none of
mean
that.
you. I don't
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Like, let's say in the feds, right? Me and you go on a mission. We demo this dude. We go to the hole. He goes to
yeah,
the hole. He gets transferred to a different prison. We come back out.
yeah, pretty much, or vice
When these
versa.
dudes, I'm not
Okay,
saying you checked in or anything like that with the
sure.
PC, but what I'm saying, when these dudes attack you, they send you right back out on the yard to fight
Oh
some
yeah,
more.
oh yeah. Go get some more.
They're not stabbing you. They're just jumping on you.
Yeah, just jumping. Yeah.
What's life like for you, man, to have to live like that?
I mean, it's stressful. You know what I mean? Like I that it's so uncomfortable to have to walk on eggshells. You know what I mean? Like walking on eggshells every day, not knowing what's gonna happen when the doors break. It wasn't a fun time of my life. You know what I mean? Especially you know, at that time I was a pretty young dude, still really impressionable. You know what I'm saying? 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, still really impressionable. Still wanting to fit in, still wanting to belong somewhere. But I still had moral compass. I still knew what I believed and what I thought was right, and I wasn't gonna let no one persuade me to think otherwise. But I still wanted to find a place. I wanted to be somewhere. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be alone in there.
So now you are kind of alone because you're like, hey, man, I'm good on this shit. When does it
Right.
finally end? Does it ever end?
I went home from that. I went home, pretty much staying to myself on that bid. I met a couple friends that were also loners here and there, but still, wanting to find a place. You know what I mean? Still wanting to be a part of something, bigger than myself. And so I went home from that bid, after a little 5 years, and yeah, and it was a lot of bullshit during that 5 years, but made it home, no scars, no nothing to worry about, and um uh but was still like missing something in my life, you know what I mean? So I turned to like a lot of drugs and alcohol, like
We'll get there in a second. Let me
yeah,
ask you
sure.
this though, right? You're living a loner life in prison, right? Are
Mhm.
you allowed to change the TV? Can you sit in the white section, or they just treat you like you ain't shit?
Pretty much, shun you like an outcast in that time, like in the 90s, but at the same time, uh they don't try to punk you like you ain't like no bitch or nothing because they know you'll fight. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no problem with crashing out for what I believe in or for what's mine, but there's been other guys, that had experiences where they you weren't affiliated with nothing. You didn't even have shoes on your feet. You know what I'm saying? It's all state everything.
So even the ABs would get at some white dudes and take their shit and
Yeah,
whatever. I
yeah.
was around a couple of them dudes. You might know some of them. Mark Turner. Did you know Mark Turner? They called him Honky.
Oh yeah, I know Honky. Yeah,
Yeah, Mark was actually one of my friends at one time, man, in Youngstown, Ohio, and we
yeah.
got into it over a Scrabble game, and I picked him up. I mean, I'm a lot bigger than him, you know.
Right.
I had to pick him up and body slam him, man. Then I
It
seen him
just
years later at USP Lee, and he was involved in stabbing one of his homies, Jimmy. How about Beast? Did you know Beast?
no, I don't know Beast. No,
He
no.
ended up
But
in the feds, and he ended up becoming an official brand member. I think he might be in the ADX now.
that's like and there's lots of branches off the AB and lots of solid guys. Most of them old guys are long gone. You know what I'm saying? Them older guys are long gone, either home or dead or at OSP. But yeah, there was some good guys. It was just it depends on who's got the keys, who's shaking the keys at where you're at. You know what I mean? With all those organizations, even our organization, even the Dubs, it all falls on who has the keys where you're at. You know.
Let me ask you this, right? When they ostracize you, they're kind of like an outcast now. Some of the dudes that you were cool with, the AB dudes, they still associate with you, or they're like, man, fuck that dude.
No, they act like you don't exist anymore. You could have been best friends. You could have been the best of homies. You could have been, smoking roll ups together, getting high together. Drinking hooch together, telling stories about, you know, uh, your childhood together, just like best of buds, and it just all disappears. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, it's just gone.
Like loyalties.
Yeah, fake loyalties. Yeah, like and I'm not saying anything against the organization as a whole, but in Ohio, it's some fuck shit. Right, they don't bleed right out here. I mean,
I mean, I think it's that way with a lot of organizations, a lot of gangs, just that gang life in general. So
pretty
you end up
much.
getting out of jail, right? You go
Hmm.
home and you say you kind of fall into the drug use and all of that type of shit, right? What
Yeah,
happens?
real heavy. Like um, just man, I had a hard time finding my place. And like I said, you can go into the psych part of it is abusive childhood neglect or whatever. It was just it really had a hard time finding my place, in life in general, um, and so I get into smoking some crack, doing some heroin, and then having to support that habit, and still be able to exist out there. So I get the hustling, you know what I mean? And that entire lifestyle led to me to two or three other numbers. You know what I'm saying? Penitentiary, trafficking heroin, trafficking in crack, uh, possessions. Tampering with evidence for drugs, all that type of stuff.
Talk about your last bid. How much time did you do straight on your last bid?
13 years.
What do you go to prison for? 13-year sentence is a nice size sentence. What'd you go to jail for?
I robbed a heroin dealer. You know what I'm saying? A guy from a neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? He was pushing heroin. I was kind of doing bad. You know what I'm saying? At the bottom of the barrel, I'd done a couple other robberies at the time. Pretty much robbed all the other dealers. And they weren't trying to fuck with me. So he was kind of the last person on the chain. And I was copping from him for a minute and shit. And times got hard. And we ran up in his house and I beat him pretty bad and robbed him. You know what I mean?
How much do you rob them for?
Not even enough to even talk about an embarrassing amount. Probably under 900 bucks. Yeah.
You jump on them, you're beating on them.
Yeah. Pistol whipping them.
White dude, black dude.
White dude. Yeah.
You're pistol whipping this dude to take his dope so you could get high.
Yeah.
So, no disrespect to you, but white dude taking advantage of a white dude, right? You got the ups.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
Terrible.
it's raw. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, it's terrible. You know, and that's what I'm saying is, even when I was young, I had a moral compass, but when you get into drugs, you don't have no morals anymore. Once you're an addict, your kind of moral compass goes away, especially with females. You have the most beautiful females that you couldn't touch in high school. They get on that dope and they just give it away. You know what I'm saying? It all that those morals and that high class of opinions of yourself that go away once you get on that dope.
You're on, you're getting high, man. What's your life like in the streets though? While you're getting high, you
Uh,
robbing, stores. I mean, what's your life like?
Well, even though I was maintaining the bag to where, I hadn't the cut, I had some customers, but my addiction was so high, probably. And then I had my girlfriend's addiction at the time. She was an addict, an addict has an addict with them, you know what I'm saying? That's my road dog, you know what I'm saying? All my little females is always like my road dogs. I'm taking care of their habit and making sure we got a roof over our head and all that, you're talking about, at least you need at least 800-900 a day. You know what I mean, for both of us, and food and gas and everything like that. So that it adds up quick. You know what I mean? So um, with the situation where I did start doing robberies and stuff, it was my my supplier in Columbus, Ohio. He got busted, and I couldn't you know couldn't find anybody that was you know do with what I needed at the time. You know what I mean? You know, enough to where uh, I could make enough money to float our habits. So if I'm copping for just a little bit, a little bit less than what I can make where I live at, there's no extra money there. You know what I mean? So just for example, say if I'm buying it for 50 a gram and I can only get 60 a gram, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing on the top. Not enough to supply, a couple addictions, couple habits.
What about now? Are you clean now? You on Suboxone, anything like that?
I'm in the MAP program. Yeah, I'm clean. I'm on, except for the Suboxone. You know what I mean? Like, I've been clean and sober probably, a few months now. You know what I mean?
So now you rob this dude, right? He's a
Uh-huh.
drug dealer. You rob him for some heroin. You beat him up kind of bad. He tells the police on you.
He had to go get some staples and stuff. He had like a broken orbital bone from where I pistol whipped him and stuff. And um, yeah, the police were called when he got to the hospital, and yeah, he made a report, pointing me out in the courtroom at my prelim and everything. Yeah,
Cop out to how much do you cop out to? Because you do what 13, but how much do you cop out to?
I didn't cop out. I went to trial, and I was originally sentenced to 23 years, but my lawyer got it back into the appeals court under the Allied Defense Law and got the aggravated robbery and aggravated burglary merged together. So it took 9.5 years off.
So you end up doing the 13 piece.
Mhm.
When do you start getting involved in the dubs, man, with the Cincinnati Wild Boys?
Off the jump of this number right in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? So I've been affiliated with them for about 14 years, about 14 and a half years now, off the top. You know what I mean? As soon as I get in there, they approach me. I was a bigger white dude, about 270 pounds when I got to the receiving center, and stocky, and they just started flocking to me. I seen that they were at beef with the ABs and the ANs, and I always had a little bit of animosity, a little chip on my shoulder for how my situation with them played out. So I kind of just like fell right into them. Good group of dudes, you know what I'm saying? Showed me love off the bat, you know, uh, you know, they give me the shoes off their feet, you know what I mean? So breaking bread, you know what I mean? And kind of pulled me right in as like, a brother, a homie, you know what I mean? And like I said, I was always kind of pretty much looking for that anyways. You know what I mean?
So you just got out recently, right?
Yeah, I just got out Ross on January 2nd.
So you were there when that cop got killed, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll
Sure,
we'll,
sure.
we'll get on that in a second. So now, you do all that time. You walk in there. These dudes embrace you. You're kind of like, hey, man, look, man, I really dislike the AB, whatever. These cats embrace you. Who is the most dominant white gang in the Ohio prison system right now as we speak? Because you just left.
I just it's a tight run between us and the KF. I would say the convicted family or the CWB, but at times and in some joints we got an alliance together called K Dub Thug. So it just depends on who's ringing the keys, but I would say for predominant white gangs, the CWB.
They kind of overtake the ABs are kind of like
We
not really popping like that.
we washed them out. I know I ain't trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but they don't do nothing in the Ohio penal system anymore. And it's
Kind of
crazy. It's crazy because they did it to themselves. You know what I'm saying? They were an organization that had it all. You know what I'm saying? They had it all in the Ohio penal system, and they washed themselves out by what I'm saying, how they moved, how they did their politics. You know, can't extort your own for all those years and rape, pillage, and plunder your own people and not think that they're not going to rise up against you. Took a bunch of dope fiend ass white boys to motherfucking shut that whole organization down. You know what I mean?
So when you say dope fiend white boys, who you
Yeah,
referring to?
the Dubs and KFs. That's what they call us. You know what I'm saying? Because we get high and crash on shit. You know what I mean?
So you get high and suited and booted, knives, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, but we ain't ducking nothing. We're not ducking nothing in there. And that's what we're known for. Crash out mafia. We go. You know, and that's what kept us strong. That's what keeps us strong in there. You know, we always got
So,
somebody bringing the keys somewhere good. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's a good block captain. I got shout out to my big homie Seth, my OG at motherfucking Ron. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? He brings the keys good. It just depends on where you're at.
so they're like, okay, they bring you into the fold. I mean, do you have to put in some work in order to be a part of this crew?
Sorry about that.
You're good. So look, when you become a part of this crew, do you have to put in work right away?
Oh yeah, off the top, yeah, yeah. If whether it's there's always some kind of dispute, but with us, we politic it a lot better. You know what I'm saying? If we line up. You know what I'm saying? If I got a problem with a crib or a GD or something, the heads get together, and if we can't figure it out between us one on one, then we'll line up. You know what I'm saying? We'll all crash. You know what I'm saying? We'll crash against them, they crash against us. We'll fight it out.
So when you talk about, lining it up, you're beefing with a crip. A white dude can fight a black dude in there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
No issues. It's just one on one. Let's get to it.
yeah. If it's politics, yeah. If by affiliation, I mean, you ain't gonna be no white dude. You ain't gonna be no white dude that's not affiliated by no black dude in the Ohio penal system. You're about to get popped.
So let's say the Dubs, right? Let's say a white dude that's kind of like an independent. He's only been there a week, man. They rob his shit. He's like, yo, I want a fair one with this dude. He's a crip. They stole my shit. Does he get that or no?
Um, it depends on where he comes from, but yeah, most of the time we make sure that happens. I mean, if I can't speak for everybody else, but speaking for myself, if I'm there, he gets the fair ones.
Black dudes will let that go. They respect the white dudes in your position.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and if they don't, we'll earn the respect. We have to.
Hey, man, I respect it, right? I mean,
Right,
who's
for
the
sure.
most? Who's got the biggest numbers in the Ohio prison system? Blacks,
Oh,
whites.
uh, the hardest felons by far, fam. Yeah, I love them guys, man. Gang, for sure. A lot of them guys are good dudes, man. Fam. Yeah.
So you never had no issues with the heartless felons?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Uh, they're, they're pretty much all the ones I know. Yeah, they're wild. They're a bunch of wild kids. They got some dumbasses in their organization, little youngsters. You know what I'm saying? But all the tops that I've ever met, all the heads, great, great, great group of guys, man.
I've been around some of them heartless felons, man, when I was in Youngstown, right?
Yeah,
So I've been around, and I actually got along with one kid, man. He was a heartless felon. He had shot the police in Cleveland, and I think he ended
yeah,
up with like 35 years in the feds, man.
yeah, yeah. A lot of them kids. I mean, they're wild. Don't get me wrong, and there's some idiots in the organization, but for the most part, a group of pretty good guys, man. And they're predominantly from Cleveland, Ohio, and uh, you know, they came out of the ODYS. You know what I'm saying? Department of Youth Services, and boy, they blew up, boy, and they're everywhere. Like you can't go to a compound in the state of Ohio and there not be 100, 150 of them there. At least.
What's the worst thing you've seen violent wise in Ohio? We don't talk to a lot of Ohio guys, so maybe you can give
Okay.
us some perspective.
Um, I mean, as far as staff on inmates or inmates on inmates, I mean, I've seen some pretty heinous stuff, but probably the I've seen when I was at Mansfield, I seen a man's penis laying on the range. It was removed from his body and spit out on the range. That's pretty fucking heinous, man. Pretty
Why did
fucking.
that happen?
Um, I'm not sure all the details, but he owed somebody, and the person that he owed sent the chump at him, and the chump went in there to perform an act on him and bit his shit off. That's pretty. That's pretty heinous, man. That's pretty gross. I mean, um, that that was 25, 28 years ago that I seen that, and I still got the vision burnt into my head today. So that's like it's pretty traumatizing.
How about the
You know what I mean?
how about the cops over there? Do they respect the gang members, or they treat you guys like shit and don't have a problem putting their hands on you?
Oh, they don't have level three, level fours in Ohio. They don't have no problem putting their hands on you. You know what I mean? Especially the SRT, they don't have no problem putting their hands on you. You can look at them wrong and they beat the shit out of you. They'll drag you in your boxer shorts through the snow. They'll slam you on your head off the top bunk. They don't care. Like, I mean, look how many people disappear in the hole, man. And it's always an accident, or this guy overdosed, or this guy was smoking tune and fell off his bed. Man, that shit's all a cover up, man. They get us back there and fuck us up, man.
Been beat up by the police?
I've been sprayed and drugged, and hit a couple times. I had a situation at Marion, where I rode out from Marion to Lucasville. Um, I had got a bag of fentanyl in there, and I fell out on it in 2018, and they shut the whole prison down because of it, and they rolled me out to um, Toledo, first of all, Toledo level 4B, um, because of they said that it was a 59. I brought an dangerous ordinance into a correctional facility, but the police were acting like they were falling out on it or whatever. But when they got into Marion Hospital, no one pissed dirty for it, for the substance. But the cops cover the cops back, so they were like, "Oh, you tried to hurt one of our officers," and I got hit a couple times with the baton, but not nothing unbearable to where my life was in jeopardy or anything, or where I was struggling to live or anything.
So you're at Ross, right? This cop ends up getting murked at Ross. This is what I
Christmas
think
Day.
it was Christmas Eve or something, right? When
Christmas
was it?
Day, yeah. Christmas Day, yeah.
That's a hell of a Christmas present for someone's family, huh?
Oh yeah. Not only the officers, the situation with the officer, but also the guy that actually committed the offense or the act, the guys at the institution. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty terrible. 7 o'clock, your doors break on the top range. Everybody's already ready for Christmas. Everybody's gotten their little Christmas meals together, their little drugs to do for the Christmas, and everybody's ready. You know what I'm saying? To start the day, 7 o'clock, top range comes out. All the homies are gathering with their little groups, and they everybody locked down. You know what I'm saying? Lockdown. We locked down. Ain't no coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one knows what's going on. It's just speculation. But here it is. This dude at 640 goes into the guard shack and beats the CO for 20 minutes. 20 minutes, dude. He beat this CO to death for 20 minutes, and the CO didn't get no help. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, okay, yeah, I'm dedicated to the cause, convict law as always, but what's up with the security to where an inmate can beat a CO to death for 20 minutes and there ain't no other CO there to help? You know what I mean?
Let me ask you about the dude that allegedly did this, right? White dude,
Right,
black dude, Spanish dude,
black dude. Yeah,
gang member, allegedly.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. Um, I'm sure that his days since then have not been very, very well, just from what I've seen from my experiences, if just from assaulting a CO, from guys that have assaulted the COs, I've seen what their life looks like. So I can only imagine if you killed one of them. But our life in there afterwards was hell. Like, I'm talking about hell. If you banged on that door, you were getting drugged to the hole, mace, beat. I seen guys, there was guys walking out of our block all day long, head split open, bleeding everywhere from getting extracted out of the cells, drugged through the snow in their boxer shorts. My guy, listen to what I'm talking about. There's snow this high on the ground, 4 inch, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow on the ground. They're getting drugged to the hole in their boxer shorts. No socks, no shoes. Terrible. Like for nothing.
A lot of them dudes were posting shit on Facebook and stuff, man, and they were like, "Hey, man, we're afraid. Were you nervous? Were you worried for your own safety?"
Yeah, it was traumatic. Yeah, I was scared. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, when we finally did let us out for chow, we know the guys were kind of meeting up. We're trying to make sure that we're good, each other are good, not only head wise, but that we eliminate the fear. Like we got each other. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, it's us or them. You know what I mean? So we for the first few days we let them get that shit off. And then we let them know like we start reaching out to our peoples and phone calls were being made and they start letting up off us. We told them we ain't taking this shit. You know what I mean? We ain't gonna keep taking this shit.
And letting you guys shower. What was the food like?
Oh, it was bag lunches. It was bag lunches. I mean, so Christmas Day we got 4 peanut butter sandwiches. That was our Christmas all day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I mean? We got a peanut butter sandwich and a piece of cake for breakfast, peanut butter, a piece of cake, and a little bag of chips for lunch, and 2 peanut butter sandwiches for dinner on Christmas Day. Yeah.
After that shit happens, right? Some of your homies, if the police were going to attack one of you guys, would you guys have went together? Fuck it, we're not just letting them destroy us.
That's what we pretty much came up with, and we didn't have that happen. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of violence going on against a lot of different guys there, but fortunately, none of our guys had to deal with that. But yeah, we pretty much said, if especially if it's one of the heads, one of the black heavens, if they start fucking them up, we're going. You know what I mean? It's us against them. Yeah.
When this cop gets killed, what type of cop was he? Was he an asshole? Because people will leave comments and they're going to say, "Oh man, it's prison. It's not supposed to be nice." But sometimes you have some cops, and we just seen in New York, they just killed this dude, right? Beat the
Yeah.
dude to death, kicked him in the chest, had him cuffed. They do wild shit and it doesn't get caught on video, but now sometimes it's starting to, right?
Yeah.
What type of cop was this guy?
I mean, I only had two incidences with this guy, and it's both at that guard check. I was in college while I was at Ross Sinclair College, and I was like one of the last people to come out, and I was walking back, and he was like, "Come on, you stupid ass," you know what I'm saying? What the fuck's taking you so long? And he was like, "It's a waste of our taxpayer dollars for you guys to be going to that school anyways. It's a waste of my paycheck, da 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 da, buying you books and all this bullshit he was rambling on about, that and I'm telling you, it lit a fuse underneath me. The rest of the way back, I was like, I want to punch that dude in the fucking face. You know what I mean? And the next situation I had with him is like, he let like 6 other dudes go through past the gate, but he wanted to shake me down. And I just so happened to have, some contraband on me, you know what I mean? But he let 6 black dudes go by, and I was the only white dude. And, because I was the only white dude, I had to be a smart ass about it, you know what I mean? And he said some really dumb shit, like even about my mom, you know what I'm saying? Like he's like, I bet your mom's real proud of you, huh? Being in here, all them stupid tattoos on your face, little dumb shit like that, you know what I mean?
Was he known for beating up inmates?
No, not that I know of. I mean, being a smart ass though, yeah, saying dumb shit. So, but like I could see how his mouth could have probably got him into some trouble because, like I said, even that day, I really wanted to punch that fucking dude in the face.
The violence with the cops there before the cop gets murked, right?
Yeah.
What is the violence like from the cops there? Because I've seen stories on Facebook where, this lady said, "Yo, my son got killed at Ross by the
Yeah.
cops. There's like big gashes in his arm." I wanted to interview her too.
Yeah.
And if she's watching, hit me up. Let's do an interview.
For sure.
Uh,
No, like I said, that they got still probably having investigations going on, but there was people went back to the hole and would disappear, man. You know what I mean? And they would always say it was over smoking some tune or fell off his rack or some shit like that. But that's not the case. You know what I mean? Or they they get beat and left in there, or this guy hung himself in there. You know what I'm saying? That's not the case, man. You know, the motherfuckers come in there and they fuck us up, and they cover that shit up, man. They cover that shit up. I think it was what we had. What, in 2024? I think they said there was 18 deaths at Ross or something like that. 14 to 18 deaths or something like that. Probably only 2 of them were from our own violence. You know what I'm saying? The rest of them is damn, man. Damn, I'm telling you.
Ever see anybody get killed in there, man?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's that like for you? What's that experience like to see a dude lose his life in there, to extreme violence? What goes through your mind when you see that?
mm, I mean,
I asked you that because you talked about a moral compass earlier in the interview.
yeah, you know what I mean. I understand what you're saying. It's like I just don't want to sound like a piece of shit or a monster or something. But for the most part, I'd just be grateful that it wasn't me. You know what I mean? But like, yeah. Does it put fear? Was it fearful? Yeah. You know, I seen a guy get beat to death in a cell with the door wide open at Lebanon. You know what I'm saying? You know, just beat to death. You know, and does it weigh on you seeing that stuff? Sure, of course. You know what I mean? Probably has stuff to do with some of my drug use or whatever. But um, I, that's a good question, man. Yeah, it does fuck with you. It does fuck you up. You know what I mean?
I know that while you're in prison, right, you lose your parents, right?
Right. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Throughout my incarceration, my dad died in 2005 while I was incarcerated, and my mom just kind of pretty much fell off the map completely.
And with your mom, is she still alive or did she
Yeah,
pass?
yeah. My mom's still alive. I'm pretty much like dead to her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean though? What, she just was done with you because you've been in and out of prison?
Yeah, pretty much. Um, yeah, it's a pretty touchy situation, but yeah, um, she pretty much kicks me to the side from my sister. My sister testified against me on the case that I just did all the time for my sister, my girlfriend at the time, and my brother-in-law. They all testified against my trial, and I've always had animosity towards my sister, and my mom always took my sister's side. When it came time pretty much for me to be forgiving, like I found it in my heart to forgive my sister and everybody else, my mom pretty much just act like it was too late. You know, like I done pushed everybody away too long or something like that. Like now I've been reaching out. I've been reaching out for her or whatever, and um, she don't got nothing to say.
Let me ask you about the forgiveness thing, right?
Right?
Was your sister involved in the crime somehow? Was she using drugs at the time?
Yeah.
Sometimes, don't worry about it. I mean, you're in the halfway house. This is part
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
what we're
People
going through.
behind
Don't
me,
trip,
sure.
bro. Don't trip, homie. It's all right.
Yeah.
So, your sister's using drugs. Do you ever chalk it up like, look, man, her addiction, we were all involved in this shit and she didn't want to go to jail?
Well, a lot of that's part of the situation is my sister, why my forgiveness was where it was. My sister wouldn't tell my mom the truth. Like she pretty much made it seem like I tricked her. Like I tricked her to that going to this house and that I was just going in there to get drugs or whatever. But she knew the whole situation. She was part of the whole thing. But um because she was charged for it and she told my mom like basically I didn't even know what they were gonna do and this and this and that. You know, my mom was like, oh, you manipulated your sister and this and this and that. And that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? She was part of it from the get go. Uh, and so my thing with her was I was always telling her just tell mom the truth. You know what I mean? Simple. You know, just tell her the truth. She wouldn't do it. You know, she hasn't done it to this day, as far as I know. I haven't talked to her. I haven't talked to my sister. Tried reaching out to my mom. I got out. I got out. I didn't even have a pair of socks. I just did 13 years. I ain't got a pair of socks. I reached out to my mom for help. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing. You know what I mean? I ain't got nothing for you. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna, you know what? I don't pay people for interviews, right? And I
Yeah, I
know
know.
I know it's a struggle getting out after all that time. I know you don't have much. I'm gonna shoot you something today, man, just to look out, right? I want to do that.
I
Um,
appreciate you, man.
and if other people that are watching the show, some people might be like, "Oh man, he's high." You're not high. You're in the program. You're trying to
Yeah.
get your life together. If people want to donate, if you're going to donate today to me, man, don't do it. His Venmo will be in the description, man. If you want to send this brother 10, $15, $20 to help him out, that's up to you. But I'm going
Yeah,
to
I'd
do that for you.
appreciate it.
I'm going to send you. I'll probably send you $100, bro, just to look out and try to help you a little bit, right? I want to
I
see you
appreciate
do
you
good. I don't want to see you fail, right?
for
But
sure.
I do know this. How old are you, man?
47.
47 years old, right? At
Yeah,
some point, bro, you can take this, don't take this disrespectful, but at some
for
point,
sure.
man, we got to get out of the gang mentality. We got
For
to get out of
sure.
the prison life. We got to learn to appreciate, man, walking outside, even if it's snowing, or appreciate the trees, or appreciate the fact that you can go and get you something to eat at 8 o'clock at night, or appreciate the fact that some cop ain't going to handcuff you and punch you in the back of the head. You have to learn to appreciate that shit. And if you never learn to appreciate it, you'll be right back in there. And you know what you'll be? You'll be the big homie, man. You'll be the shot caller.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's kind of like what it is for real, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, Jad. It's like this. It's like um never having anybody really there except for the homies. It makes it hard to let go. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're looking for something and the homies is there and that love is there, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to walk away from. Yeah. Am I done with the drugs and that whole lifestyle? Of course, I'm done with it. I'm done with the hustle. I'm done with all that. Trying to get a job now. You know what I mean? Trying to move on from that. Will I always have love for the homies? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Uh, I never forget some of them guys. You know what I'm saying? They were a godsend to me at times, and I always love the CWB. But there comes a time when you get old enough that you have to walk on your own. I just don't know what that's like yet. I'm trying to learn.
It's a sad reality getting out of prison at 47 years old and you don't know how
Yeah,
to walk on your own because you've been institutionalized your whole life.
for
Somebody's been
sure.
helping you walk, whether we see it that way or not. That's really what it is. There's
Right,
always a meal there for you. Even if it's a peanut butter sandwich, they always got a meal, right? They
right,
got a job to go to that you can go to. They got a cell for you to lock in at night and you go to sleep. You get institutionalized, and just like the violence, what we talked about earlier, you become calloused, right? It's not that you're cold
right,
hearted, you just become calloused. Like you're like, damn, man, dude got killed. That's crazy, bro. And it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your day because you've
right.
seen so much violence. You've experienced so much loneliness and depression and oppression, right? Where it's just like, man, this is my life, man. This is just my
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. It just becomes everyday reality.
Let's talk about this because at some point, after being in the gang all these years, you move up the ladder, right?
Yeah,
Become a shot caller at some point.
yeah, yeah. I had the keys. I had the keys at a couple institutions. I've been a block captain at some of the biggest prisons. Where it's hard to hold keys at. You know what I'm saying? Lebanon. You know what I'm saying? Block captain at Ross. Had the keys at Richland. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's yeah. I moved my way up, but I earned it. You know what I mean?
You
And I
earned
was
it. How do you earn it?
just moving my way up, you know what I'm saying? Never taking no shit, never backing down, being a good example for everybody else, leading by example, following our code, you know what I'm saying? Um, you know, um, bringing in good guys, you know what I'm saying? Bringing in good guys, recruiting good guys, put my K's on good guys, um, embracing everybody the same way I was. Like the way I was brought in is how I treated everybody else. I didn't, you know, I didn't let drugs or money or anything else sway, how I treated my own like other organizations, do. You know what I'm saying? Like just because I was at the top, just because I was at the top, we were all equal. When I had the keys, we're all equal. We're all in it together, man. We all got an equal say.
As you're climbing this ladder to become a shot caller, right? Are
Yeah,
you committing personal violence?
yeah. Lead by example. Like if we were lined up, I didn't send my guys to go and do anything. I led by example. If we were lining up and it was on the first range to hit, because we hit on levels like first range, second range, third range, which is like a range of cells. So if it's I'm on the first range and it's time for me to hit, but I got three other guys on the first range that can do it, I'll go do it. Lead by example. I'll go hit for us. You know what I mean? Go fight.
You know, when we talk about putting in work in the feds, it's serious, right?
Yeah,
Penitentiary,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
stabbing. Are you?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you have to stab people in there?
I have been involved in stabbings. Yeah,
So you've been involved in a stabbing. What was the guy's offense?
multiple.
What,
Huh?
what was what was one of the offenses? What did they do that required them to be stabbed in prison, according to prison politics?
Well, a guy stole a pair of shoes from my nephew, and I took care of that business. You know what I mean? Um, did it have to come to that? No, but I was pretty much trying to set. you know, send the presence out there. You know, like if you steal from me or my family, it's over with. You know, I was trying to make it known. You know, no, I didn't have to be like that. Could have been just a fight. You know what I'm saying? I could have, you know, I could have went about it a different way. And yeah, there's regret there. You know, I'm not, I'm not a sociopath. I'm not a maniac. Usually after I hurt somebody, I feel bad immediately after. I've even beat people up and immediately after start patching them up myself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so I'm not a like a maniac, man. I have a heart. I just you know, you got to put on a bigger front when you're in there. You know?
When you become the shot caller, right?
Yeah,
When you get the keys, right? And they're like, hey, Casper's got the keys, right?
for sure.
What does that feel like for you, man, to get that power that day?
It's good. It's good. It feels good. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know, 'cause it's a vote. You know what I'm saying? It's a vote, and it just makes you feel good. Like I did the right thing. I was like, you know, I really am a good dude. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a pat on the back. Like these guys really do love me. They trust me. You know what I mean? So yeah, it feels good, man. Yeah,
You feel kind of like a sense of self worth.
yeah, yeah. It pumps you up, and like I said, like we talked out through here, you know, through my life, you know, I pretty much needed that. You know, I had nobody ever tell me when I was a kid that they was proud of me or nothing like that. You know, so to get that little boost, that's kind of like what it's like. You know what I mean? You always have that urge for it, that craving.
I say this, right?
Uh,
I feel like dudes in jail. Like I did 17 years, brother.
I
17
know
years,
for
5 months,
sure, Chad.
21 days straight, right?
Sure.
I feel like in prison, right? Dudes grow physically, but you don't always grow mentally. Do you feel that way?
Um, I no, I feel that I'm intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Book smart and you know penitentiary smart, street smart. This technology out here blows me away, man. I'm telling you, God, I yeah. So I feel dumb when I try to fuck with these phones and shit, bro. I can't even get these bitches to work half the time. I ain't gonna lie. This computer shit, these game systems, bro. I stay away. I can't do this shit. These kids are walking all over me on these phones, man. You know what I mean? But everything else, I'm cool. You know what I mean? I got you know the social anxiety thing that freaks me out going out in public and everything, but right now I'm just dealing with the anxiety of being around a bunch of people and the technology. That's the only thing I'm lacking. That's the only that's
Casper,
holding me back.
when I talk about growing mentally and
Yeah,
physically, I sometimes believe that we're stuck where we were at. You know, whether you
yeah,
read books and whether you're intelligent, we're stuck
yeah,
at where we were at when we went to jail. And I'm going to give you an
for sure,
example. I go to prison when I'm 24, right? Right now, believe it or not, I can get on the bench and I can bench 225 18 times.
for
I
sure,
still feel like I'm 24 years old inside.
sure,
I still hoop the same way. I still move the
sure,
same way. And
sure,
I'm 46 years old, bro, but
right,
I still feel like, like I'm a kid at times.
for sure,
I'm married, I got kids, I wrestle my kids, and
for sure,
sometimes I think my wife is like, man, you're like a little kid sometimes. I
yeah,
jump up at 5 in the morning. I can start wrestling the kids at 5 in the morning. Other
sure,
people like, I remember when my stepfather, I'd be like, man, he's old as shit when he was my
right,
age. He had,
yeah,
you got to get up and their back hurts. They need a cup of coffee. And I still think that sometimes, man, we're still stuck at that age bracket up there, but I can
yeah.
still run a business. I can still do all of that stuff. But sometimes, I still act like a kid at times, man.
Oh, for sure. No one ever believes I'm as old as I am. Like I don't dress like my age or nothing like that. Everybody's like, bro, you're almost 50, dog. The way you dress, like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And, I get a lot of that. And I horseplay a lot with the guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I see what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. Like, I definitely don't feel my age. You know what I'm saying? I definitely don't act my age. So yeah, it does pretty much stick you in one place, man.
Spent some of the best years of your life in prison, right? Your
All of
30s, your
them.
40s, when you were younger, your 20s. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's 13, 14 year stretch. That's a long time.
yeah.
What's your biggest regret? What's Casper's biggest regret in life?
My biggest regret is not putting more effort into being a father to my kids. You know what I mean? Like, even when I be beefing with my baby's moms and stuff, and even when I couldn't make it work with them, not putting in more of an effort to see my kids. I was got so sick of dealing with the drama of what would every time I contacted my baby's moms and shit, dealing with that drama, that it kind of like made it to where I didn't even want to deal with it. I wish I would have put more effort into that. You know what I'm saying? To fighting harder to be a dad for my kids. And fuck the dealing with the drama with the baby's moms and shit. I should have just fought harder. You know?
You got out and you pretty much had nobody, man. You're walking out, man. Reentry, it's not always easy. Some of the toughest things when you get out of prison is, that sends you back is no job, no housing, no clothing. How do you get clothes, man?
Um,
So now I know, your biggest regret pretty much was, leaving your kids and not doing the right thing. We talked about, your clothing and reentry.
that's what it
What,
was. Yeah.
let me ask you this, right? How did you end up getting clothes and getting yourself together?
You know, one thing I do pride myself in is always being a good person when I was on the streets. To if you're my friend, you're my friend forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether we talk, whether you're there for me, through my incarceration or not, I'm a good dude to you. Regardless, it's just like, um, I was supposed to turn myself in to the halfway house upon my release, and I didn't have nothing, So instead of taking the bus to Mansfield and turning myself into the VOA, I took the bus to Sandusky, Ohio, and ran the streets for about 6 days so I could get some clothes and stuff together. You know what I mean? And some friends, came through for me. My friend Jed, he looked out for me. I got another friend named Jeff. They looked out for me tough, got me clothes together. Some cigarettes and stuff to bring in here. Little money in my pocket. So I could come in here and feel more comfortable in my own skin. Without having to wear state shoes and shit.
You don't get in trouble for not showing up?
Um, I should have, but I kind of explained the situation to my PO. Like I called every day, but I called from a Google Voice number. You know what I'm saying? So he couldn't put the raps on me. He couldn't trace me or whatever. But I called him every single day after hours, so I had to just leave a voicemail. I didn't talk to him personally. I called after hours and was like, this is the thing, bro. I'm trying to get there, but I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? I just did 13 years in prison. You want me to go turn myself in with a bunch of men again without getting no ass? You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? I gotta go get my clothes together. I gotta go get some female compassion, and then I'll go turn myself in. And he said, "You got till Monday." I called Monday morning. The last time I talked to him on the phone was Monday morning about 8 o'clock. He's like, "You got to 4 o'clock today. I'm putting a warrant out for your arrest." I turned myself in at 3:59.
You're a crazy motherfucker. After doing all that time, you're taking a shot at going right back.
Yeah, I had to.
Gonna keep you free, bro.
Um, I do have a pretty decent support system. My baby sister's back in my life, you know what I'm saying? And um,
Isn't the
she's
sister that told on you?
no, this is my baby sister. She's pretty impressionable. She's only in her 20s, and she's got a son who's my nephew that you know is a little cutie. You know what I'm saying? I still got time with him. You know what I'm saying? My kids are pretty much grown. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a grandpa yet. Um, but that relationship, that bond there is strong. I got friends, I got some friends that are being really supportive that don't get high. Um, and I still have hopes that I can work things out with my mom and we can have a family again. So that's kind of like what I long for, man. It's like that family unit or whatever. I'm not in a relationship with a woman or nothing right now, but I daydream about that. What it would be like to have that life again. You know, have a significant other and build that life again. Go to work every day and you know, have a real home. Have a real home to come home to, and just all the daydreams that come with like you know, with that life. So um, wanting that and the hope for that to actually happen is what's going to keep me out. I need something different, man, in my life.
I really hope you could repair your relationship with your mom. Maybe you should sit down and, pen her a letter, man. Heartfelt letter, man. Maybe, sometimes that's better, right?
Right? Yeah. Sometimes, and sometimes they just don't want to listen. You know what I'm saying? They don't even want to. They don't even want to take the time to hear it. But um, I think in time. You know what I'm saying? Especially people knowing that I'm done. Like I don't care. I'm I'm not living in the past anymore. Like I'm not mad at anybody. I forgive everybody. I don't care if you wore a wire on me, in 2007 and I went to prison for it. I don't care if you fucked one of my baby's moms 20 years ago. Any of that shit is all that shit is under the bridge, man. I forgive everybody for everything, man. I just want a chance to live out here and be left alone, man.
I think a lot of dudes daydream about getting out of prison, especially when you do a lot of time and meeting a woman and having a life and having a family and getting a real job. I used to say, man, if I get out of jail, man, and I had 40 years at the time, I said, I don't care as long as I can get a job and pay my bills and be free, man. That's all that
Yeah, 'cause
matters.
that
Maybe
feels
order a
good.
pizza on Friday night, bro.
Yeah, it feel good, man. Feel good to get a paycheck, It feel good to have that accomplishment.
Sure, man. I want to see you do, I want to see you do well. And hopefully, this program that you're on, hopefully, you can shake that shit eventually. And then there is no more addiction and there is no more program. And, you're not,
Right.
dozing a little bit here and there. I want to see you get your life together. But anyway, man, before we get ready to go, anything you want to say?
Pretty much just, I appreciate for anybody that's ever been there for me throughout life, man. And if I had anything to say to any of the young people watching, man, none of that gang shit is cool, man. It's not cool, it wears on your life, it wears on your body, and in time you have to pay for everything that you do, man. Karma is real, and it eventually catches up with you.
For sure, man. Again, appreciate you coming on.
For
Blood on
sure,
the
sir.
Razor Wire TV with respect. Until tomorrow, you already know what it is. We're out.